Welcome back to Night Mine, friends. Thanks for visiting the office this evening. Tonight we're going to switch things up a bit from our previous explorations. It's been fun viewing projects from the past, but right now, there's something that hits all our check marks for a tantalizing mystery. It's active, and time is kind of the essence. You can be part of this experience, live, but it takes listening closely. And speaking of listening closely, our friends at Raycon heard what we'll be up to this time and wanted to accompany us for the journey by sponsoring this video, which is good because a pair of their everyday E25 earbuds will come very handy for the audio elements of this game in progress. I've mentioned before how much I'm into the E25 earbuds. They're wireless, they fit perfectly, they sync up to Bluetooth faster than anything I've ever connected my phone to. You get an immediate audio notification they're connected and ready to go, and the sound is superb. If you need something wireless to deliver when it comes to your music, Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds bring what you're after, and that includes the bass hits you crave. And there's enough battery life on a full charge to see you through 6 hours of continuous playtime. The carrying case itself is the charger too, which I still find one of the most brilliant touches of the whole design. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my Raycon earbuds this season. I always run a marathon of what I consider autumn music when working on my projects for October. And if you're looking for a pair that will serve you just as well, you're in luck. Right now, Raycon is offering viewers 15% off their orders at buyraycon.com/nightmind. That's buyraycon.com/nightmind. I'll have the link available for you in the description below. That's about half the price for other premium wireless earbuds available, and if you find they're just not for you after purchase, Raycon has a 45-day free return policy. Just click the link in the description box below, buyraycon.com/nightmind. Thanks to Raycon for the sponsor for Night Mine viewers. Now, let's evaluate our circumstances. It's mid-September, the season is changing, the nights are arriving faster, and the veil between worlds is getting thinner. There would be those who take advantage of this time, especially on that final point, and we're here tonight to review a situation in which someone absolutely has. Let's go back just a couple weeks ago. I was browsing Twitter when I started receiving notifications about something odd brewing on Instagram, an account that was acting strange, which, let's face it, that's nothing new. But this one was interesting, and there were whispers of being connected to director Darren Lynn Bousman, whose history includes Saw 2, 3, and 4, the upcoming Spiral, and Repo the Genetic Opera. But Bousman also has a history with activity in our neck of the woods, engaging in feats of immersive entertainment and sometimes uncomfortably intimate storytelling, chief among them being the Tension Experience in 2016, and the most recent of which was I Confidant, which wrapped in June of this year. That's a story we'll save for later. Darren Bousman actually cites immersive theater as his driving passion the last 4 years in a recent interview with the Daily Dead. He's not alone on this new venture though. Initial investigation of the curiosity brewing on Instagram, One Day Die, led to a sibling account with a name that can be seen spelled out using the project title on the first Instagram account, Ian Odd Eye. Find Ian Odd Eye and you'll find the crew for this experience. Darren on the right, Joshua Ryan Dietz below, Blake Voigt to the left, and Daniel Garcia above of the group Garcia Magic. With Blake Voigt, that means we have 2 magicians on board, a director, and in Joshua Ryan Dietz, a screenwriter. All the pieces here are falling into place. Imagery in the first 9 pictures makes a clear connection between this project and a lack of sight. That, you'll see, will be a recurring theme. Going to the website for One Day Die is the first real step to getting on board for the experience. Visitors are asked a series of questions, the first being, do you believe in the paranormal? Answering no produces a screen saying, seek elsewhere. A few of the questions lead to this if you answer no. Progressing through in the affirmative each time leads to this tree of questions. Have you ever lost someone close to you? Have you ever attempted to speak with the dead? Would you attend a ritual? Are you willing to explore what scares you? If you open your door to find a box from us, will you accept it into your home? And finally, shall we begin with a form for name, email, and city? Questions that stem from no answers are intriguing. Do you believe in collective thought? And if you say no to attempting to speak with the dead, it will ask, would you? Filling out the form will grant access to the main page for the site, which, in its first state, looked like this, and offered 4 links outside the Instagram. The services page makes pretty clear what this is going to be about, showing off a group working with a Ouija board. We're told this is not a profitable venture. Something this precious would demand a great price, far greater than what you can manage, but we feel you deserve to know what we know. Therefore, we sell an indulgence. We sell permission to pass. For a small price, you will be given this indulgence, which will permit you on this journey. With that, we will send a box to your home. Those who would receive the box are told not to open until instructed. It would be dangerous, and tampering would come with irreversible consequences. Every indulgence will come with a box and you will be assigned a guide. You will learn. You will face the fear that man has fled since the very beginning, and you'll never leave your home. By now, it's very clear what's going to happen. Whoever this is, they're offering an opportunity to speak with the dead or witness something beyond the realm of the living. It's going to include a box, contents unknown, sent to participants' houses, but to get it, they're going to need to purchase an indulgence. About Us shows that we're not dealing with a couple people here. This is a collective. We are knowers. We are purveyors. We have peered through the veil, seen the other side, and brought something back. If you trust us and you commit, we believe you can do the same. We believe knowing is better than not. Would you agree? The tickets page further impresses the importance of obeying the rules regarding the box and how this is not a show. This is permission to connect with something beyond the limitations of mortality. You are buying an encounter with the unknown. The window of opportunity is rare. It won't happen again for many lifetimes. A door in reality will become unlocked for a short window this October. That's very telling about exactly what their aim is. We have a sense of time when this is going to occur, and that time lines up with a greater feeling of foreboding. Halloween is the celebration and fear of when the veil between worlds is at its lowest. This isn't to say it's going to happen on Halloween, but any time close to it makes clear we may not just be trying to say hello to dead relatives. The contact page provides another opportunity for those who bypass the questionnaire to get into the experience. That was discovered when visitors who submitted emails began receiving messages from a contact with the same name as the sibling Instagram account, Ian Oddeye. Ian's words here illustrate he may be a rogue member of the group presented, or someone involved who wants to tell us more than we're being led to believe about the box. I will show you how to speak with the dead. I will show you there's a chapter after your story ends, but once you've heard its words, it will come for you. This is no place for secrets. I can see your past. It already sees your past. So I wouldn't talk to me if you don't want your secrets brought forth, you forgettable rock. Ian's comment about being a forgettable rock is in relation to a fact stated above. It is with great pressure that a forgettable rock becomes a diamond, and blood spills for diamonds. He says he only needs 1.5 hours of time. They will be lively. They will be delicious. We will see ever so clearly. A relative comment to the theme of being blind, and we will learn, or we will die. Don't knock on doors you do not want opened, he says in postscript. Shall we have a talk? And of course, on the left we have a written note suggesting secrets are open to be found through this experience. And they are, the majority of which, shockingly, Ian himself opens us up to finding. Since his first message, Ian has delivered 2 others, the third of which told those in the experience that the website now had an Ian Oddeye tab. Ian's tab is a surprise, since it's actually doing something very few projects of this type do, acknowledging the secretive nature and not only bringing people in to observe that, but putting up all the helpful links for people to work together and review the timeline of activity. This is the act of a game master telling on himself in a platform for the game, and it's, well, odd. It includes a Slack group for participants and a Google Doc where they've been cataloging all their findings. I'll give Ian this much credit for breaking the code. If he hadn't done this, I wouldn't have known about a lot of the covert activity, and a lot of participants wouldn't have known about certain elements of this experience. It doesn't seem like he's weeding out those who can break codes or find secrets and those who can't. It's more like he's testing their dedication and keeping people in play until the time they need to purchase their tickets with whatever he'll ask for. September 1st is when everything went online, and those involved in the crew behind One Day Die began teasing their involvement on Instagram. Emails from Ian went out with the first image. Late night on September 2nd, a similar email went out from a different address. Same name, slight variation in spelling, and titled, Glasses for the Rabbits. This was the same image as the first, but now with barely any text and plenty of highlights. Using it as a layer above the first, we get a message. You imagine looking for time. What if that becomes blood? Stop now, never return. It will come for you. One of you will die. According to the Google Doc, participants who had banded together early decided to start posting photos of themselves on Instagram with their eyes crossed out. This got a reaction out of Ian, who began leaving comments that, put together, said, "It takes a collective. It takes energy. You all put a piece of yourself out there and it causes a reaction." Shortly after, Ian posted another grid of images on Instagram, now very clearly coded. This was a skip code based on eliminating doppelgangers. I've made an edit here that reveals the message. What is this I'm hearing? A chorus of the curious. Surprises in store for the dealer of secrets. The bottom portion is a date and time, 9/7, 11 o'clock. The apples were a hint about where it applied. A post from the Magic Apple Store announcing a talk with Daniel Garcia of Garcia Magic, with a hint about discussing his project with Blake Voigt and Darren Bozeman. Another shock as far as breaking the magician's code in our field goes, sure, but at least a solution was found. The next activity came via email. First, Ian's very aware of what people are saying online and wants to respond, acknowledging that sure, he and his group are a bit theatrical, but life without color and a little taste isn't really life at all. He's also somewhat sick of everyone asking what's in the box instead of shutting up and working for it. He is, at least, going to hint at what to do. So you signed up. That's good, but my dead mother did that, darling, and I'm not conjuring her to say, "Good work, mother." There will be a price to pay. There's a ticket. Boring stuff. Boring stuff. I'm not trying to get rich off this, I'm already rich, but each person is responsible for his or her tithe. It's a disservice if I cover that cost for you. For some of you, this tithe will be of too great a cost, and only you can determine if you desire this box enough. If you do not pay the tithe, I'm afraid you are forbidden to see anything further, nor will you hear from me again. You'll have your chance to tithe next week. We'll let you know. Chop chop. It saddens me, sort of, but this is an affair where seating is limited, so tithe as soon as you get the opportunity or you'll be left to entertain yourself and your friends won't tell you about their ravishing experiences with old Ian. I can guarantee that. There will not be a set time for your ticket when you procure it. We'll tell you the day and not the time, but what else are you doing? You'll be available. So just keep that evening, and maybe the night, open. As we said, we only need an hour and a half of your time. Then you're free to go off and try to make sense of the senseless. He also lets people under 18 know they aren't welcome. This is 18 and up, and for those that choose to tithe, there will be a compact full of many things Ian will not be responsible for. It's important that he guarantees himself absolution if participants' rogue actions create complications. Reading through the lines here, whatever involves getting the ticket is going to cost someone about an hour and a half of their time, and it's not going to be comfortable. Seating is limited because boxes are going to be limited, and it's not just something you need to be over 18 for, it's something you need to sign legal papers over regarding what you'll experience. So, this is intimidating. The tithe is not going to be a comfortable or easy thing for someone to give, and it requires legal protection and exemption for the crew of the project. That's a foreboding message. The next bit of activity on Sunday, September 8th was interesting and enlightening. Ian responded to more participant photos on Instagram with a poem. Gather around, get close so more can come. This is more important to you than it is for some. There are 4 brave rabbits leading the charge with dreams to bewilder and entertain so large. Yet they don't see right beneath their feet, and you're taking part in my greatest feat. Their hops flip-flop ever so loud, treading on grounds they're not allowed. Darling, please say you'll be right there. Even they will fall right in the snare. Remember how I mentioned it's an act of breaking the field's general code for the crew to put their own pictures up and issue media leading back to themselves through Ian? It seems like that itself is part of the story, because Ian is now telling people they're separate from him. 4 brave rabbits leading the charge. That's Bozeman, Garcia, Voigt, and Dietz. They have dreams to bewilder and entertain so large. Otherwise, they wouldn't have started this project. Yet they don't see right beneath their feet. And you're taking part in my greatest feat. Their hops flip-flop ever so loud, treading on grounds they're not allowed. Darling, please say you'll be right there. Even they will fall right in a snare. The crew we see as the game masters here are not in control, and we're being invited to watch them suffer for their efforts in playing with the paranormal. The next day comes around, 9/7, the date of the advertised livestream with Danny Garcia. During the event, a series of numbers appear, generating a phone number, but also, Danny Garcia vanishes at the end of the stream, just as he's about to discuss One Day Die. A post from Magic Apple confirms what occurred. Participants for this experience began calling the number and were greeted by a mailbox message for the office of Ian Oddeye that kept changing, often asking for something from the caller. Please tell us why you are interested in our services. Please tell us who you are attempting to communicate with. Provide their first name and year of death. Please tell us about your strongest paranormal experience. Please tell us about your greatest fear. Ian's listening. He'd like to know something. If you don't make it, what message would you leave for those that you leave behind? You're still calling and still leaving messages. How special. Some of you seem educated while others ramble on with no train of thought. I challenge you to be articulate. As you could have guessed, we are using these recordings, so try your hardest. Now, finish the story. A wary little rabbit hopped through the woods, holding a basket with all his goods. He happens upon a wooden shed. He found himself hoping it had a bed. On Tuesday, September 8th, a new message from Ian arrived via email, this one informing us of the website changes, acknowledging all the phone calls, and directly giving out the phone number. He urged his rabbits... Boy, that sure feels weird if you've been watching my channel for a while, doesn't it? Anyway, he urged his rabbits to keep solving clues, checking Instagram comments. All updates would be through the Instagram and website, and tickets would be on sale later that week. Certain words in this email were backwards, forming a message. Always find my little clues, follow others, together will be fun. Circled or smudged letters also revealed, clever chorus. That phrase belonged to the title of a secret page on the website that needed to be put in the URL, which showed this image, and if highlighted in the darkness, a message in text congratulating the visitor while urging them to keep assisting others along the path. Seeking answers within pointed to another secret page with a hidden image relaying the statement, nothing here. Ian went to Instagram, posting numbers and a message. Look closer, tick-tock, wings window closing, I'm bored. Adding up the numbers, participants received 10:55 and guessed that was the time the window would close. Sure enough, at that time, Ian started editing his comments to simply F, for failure, or, if he was being funny, to pay respects to certain users. Danny Garcia suddenly came back then, but without Danny. This has become his Instagram account since the return. If you take the images that form a grid, you find the message imparts what we already suspect. Ian Oddeye has taken over. A poem accompanied the images through 9 lines, the last of which is what we should take away most. Silly rabbit, you really shouldn't speak about things you don't understand. Wake up. On September 9th, it's reported that a participant solved the number puzzle and discovered it pointed to a phone number. There's not much clarification on this matter. While we saw the idea behind 10:55 put into action by Ian, I suppose he may have done that because he was watching and saw an opportunity to take what viewers thought and ran with it, leaving the string of numbers as an actual code for a new line to call. What we do know is that someone called the number discovered, and a man picked up who told them this about Ian. You don't know who you're messing with. You don't know who they are. When asked what he knew, he said, enough to walk away. Around the same time, a participant used the word from Danny's image, seek, to find another hidden website page, now asking for a password. The solution is eyes, but it is funny how you can't see what you're typing as you type it. The password is what you need in the first place to get through. This leads to a page that says, soon you will know what he knows, and presents us with a video.
Hi, Ian. Hello.
Hi, Ian. You ask who we would want to contact.
Reconnect with my grandmother.
Well, she's my grandmother, was my grandmother. I don't even remember the year she died.
My attention.
Which pretty much makes me a shitty granddaughter.
Try to do my best.
I avoided her in the last year of her life because she was suffering from dementia and I didn't know how to say goodbye.
3 people that I knew.
Like spectral figures watching over.
We thought
We can hear things in the wind.
my eye. I may be doing more harm than
His wife felt so special.
I think if we could contact the dead, then both sides could say all the things that they never had the chance to say.
Spear is getting a call from Ian Odd-Eye.
Disappear.
Ian's next move was to go to Instagram, where he formed a new grid with 5 videos playing messages left at his office. They're all the same video as the one we've just seen, but now bring a different background voice each to the foreground, all sharing participants' answers to the questions asked through Ian's voicemail. That same night, September 10th, callers began receiving calls back. The first person was told there were 3 cards: Sun, 3 of Swords, and Death. The cards were shuffled and the participant had to guess the new order. She kept guessing wrong, she was informed, because all the cards had become Death. Another participant said she was told to pick a number from 1 to 11. When she guessed correctly by choosing 11, she was told by Ian's secretary that was the amount of times the participant had called, then asked why they had done so. 2 others received calls that sounded like cards being shuffled, and another 2 heard what seemed like knocking. On the 11th, Ian issued another email saying, "It seems you'll have to hold on to your ties a few days longer. You're probably asking yourself, is life worth living? It will be next week. You'll have your chance at the tip top of the week to save your spot, so keep an eye out. Until then, be a good bunny and stay away from all the things." Looking at the spot Ian crossed out in his own writing, it seems as if he originally put "bit longer." But what comes before that? I see an L and the kind of mark that suggests an I, which we can compare to the word lie in the same writing above to confirm. Was the original message "live a bit longer"? The red dots under drat is curious too. I don't think he would be so careless as to leave that in even while using a word program. 25 tickets exist on the folder. That's probably all the seats available for issuing the tithe. Might also be worth noting that the tickets actually look like rabbit heads. As for Rolodex, trying that for a secret page gets us the message. Come on, you didn't think it would be that easy. Keep looking. You can't say he doesn't have a sense of humor. Participants studied the Rolodex image a bit more and found a string of Morse code spelling out carrots, which was the hit. Ian is now asking for phone numbers directly from the group who made it this far. Saturday, September 12th, Ian started commenting more on Instagram, leaving a trail of words that, sounded out, brought up a string of pages that resulted in a new phone number. Often, people who called didn't get a voicemail. They got a person. These interactions have not been written down in the document. The next day, a new Instagram account arrived. Nora C. Aaron, leaving comments on several pictures tagged for One Day Die and asking, 10 p.m. tonight, a chat, / once you know, spread the word. What was curious about this is that a mirror site to One Day Die was eventually discovered, and it was here the URL worked. The key lied in the name. Instead of O's, there were zeros, just as the rabbits found in the email with an overlay image that wasn't from Ian Odd-Eye. The main page for One Day Die starting with a 0 produces a mirror image of the main site too. Seeing all this evidence in the mirror motif we've witnessed so far, it's hard to dismiss this as a game jacker. It must be legitimate. The writing on the new page is mirrored too, and in ascending format, another mirrored form of writing. It says, "Enter if you wish, but please allow yourself to listen and not just talk." This was also a link, but no longer works since it was only activated at 10 p.m. that one time. It led to a chat room, but the traffic was too high and crashed the site. Apparently, the user then redirected to a Google Doc that was used to solve one of the aforementioned puzzles and left a message they wanted to convey. Nora C. Aaron is a mirrored version of the name Nora, which becomes clear as the tale is told. Do we have your attention? Just listen. She was 19 years old. She had just moved to college. She aspired to be a music teacher. She didn't have many friends. Her mom was her best friend. She never had a romantic partner, but liked someone. Nora is described as a normal person who others looked to for support in the responsibility role she took on, especially at college, but she was a vulnerable and lonely person. Unfortunately, the user wrote, we became her friends. Nora went missing for a year and her parents' lives fell apart. Eventually, she was forgotten, until her body was found a year later, seemingly aged several years. She had lost a lot of weight and wore tattered clothes. The police blamed it on drugs. Her family couldn't believe it, and that's because it didn't happen that way. That is not the truth. Her name was Nora. She was great. I made her comfortable, and this is what happened to her. I'll need your help. You're either with us or you're with them. Don't let yourself be distracted by their stupid riddles and puzzles. And if you're here tonight, Ian won't be happy either way. Her name was Nora. Walk carefully from this point on. Those who called Ian's new number that night heard 40 swing music and a male voice. Following Nora's story, the rabbits found the account and her name was following someone new, Robert. His bio, like Nora's, had a mirror for a profile picture and a reverse message in the bio proposing the same meaning. 10 p.m. tonight? As I wrote this script, it had just occurred. 10 p.m. PST, September 14th. I had been expecting the website page from before to activate at 10, but this time the user chose Instagram, suddenly going live and recording a screen for us that relayed the story. In turn, I recorded my screen just in time to catch it.
He was 31 years old. He didn't have a family, not one he talked to anyway. He wanted to be a father after not having one growing up. He was awkward, but his heart was always in the right place. He lived alone but planned on getting a dog. He felt like he needed to work on himself before committing to that dog. People sometimes walked all over him. He let them. I wanted a friend. We became that to him. We were all he knew. We finally gave him attention, gave him something to do. Like all of them before, he was already invisible to the world and no one cared. His job didn't even realize he had come to work until 4 whole days had passed. No one called the police or alerted the authorities. He received one voicemail from work. He was fired. His office packed up, and that was it. They found his car wrapped around a tree. But he assumed he fell asleep while driving. He wasn't sleeping in him, nor was he driving. His name was Robert, and he never became a father, or got a dog, or made a good friend. He was kind, he was gentle, he was curious. He trusted us. He did not deserve this.
Nora, then Robert. Both lonely, both vulnerable, both attracted to the group Ian Anai belongs to, and then both dead. The warning is clear. This collective is no sort of secretive family, and someone who knows their workings has been trying to spare us from the start. It may be best to heed their warning. Before we close for the evening, I have one more note for you. After all the catch-up, my initial study as Ian's activity began, and writing this script, I couldn't help but feel as if I had to try contact myself. So I gave Ian's latest number a call. This is what I heard.
The apple is the symbol of people's temptations. With every great thing, there will be temptation. But you know better. Every day that passes, you grow that much stronger. You grow that much more prepared. If there are temptations, I don't see them. And neither should you.
This was a new message by the time I wrote my script while consulting the One Day Die Google Doc. No one else had put it down. It might be up by the time you watch this video, but when it happened, I saw nothing. And even though I know others probably called the night that I recorded and heard that message, it felt strangely like it was just for me. A fitting end cap for this video especially. Except that we aren't done here. We would have been, but developments occurred during the video making process that absolutely require getting back on the microphone. Monday, September 15th, One Day Die posted this on Instagram. Tickets on sale 9/16/2020. Then a new account appeared following Roger Greger. I didn't manage to catch this one. I was in the middle of my audio work for this video and unaware it was happening, but Roger's tale went live on Instagram, the same as Robert's. He was 78 years old, lived a small town life, been married for 60 years, his wife had been dead for 10, and he had 2 kids and 6 grandkids. As his family members' lives grew busier, they moved around, their visits and calls dwindled down, and so did his time. He began taking walks, and the group involved with Ian Oddeye walked the same path. His landlord found him dead, the rabbits were told. He was sitting in front of the TV. They claimed it was cardiac arrest, but you can guess it didn't happen that way. He ended up not being what we needed. We needed someone stronger. He was weak. He had to be replaced with someone else. He still died. For us, he was disposable. They're always disposable. His name was Roger, and he died alone and scared and thinking of his grandchildren. Reports from the Google Doc go on with a real shock for some rabbits. Calls from the crew of One Day Die. Darren Bozeman called one, asking if the participant grew up religious, asking about their family, where they were born, when they moved to LA, if they had roommates, and some odd things, like if they could go a while without seeing someone, and if they'd be scared seeing something unexplainable. Someone else got a call from Danny Garcia, who sounded like he was under major stress, asking a lot of personal questions just like Darren did. And then Joshua Ryan Dietz made a call, asking a similar series of questions, and going along the line of finding out how much the rabbit would be missed if they were to disappear. All phone calls seemed to end slightly abruptly. And as of maybe an hour and a half ago from the time that I say this, Ian's big email, ticket time. Rejoice, wanderers. The day has finally come for you to turn out your pockets and present your tithe. You've been patient, you've been diligent, you've been curious. For that, you deserve this, don't you? The link is provided to the tickets page from the site, now with an option to buy. That brings us to another letter from Ian, explaining now is the time for the compact. It's mostly just further impression on the reader that the box is not a toy. There will be shipping times to wait through, get in quick, yes there's a price, be careful, don't you dare open the box before it's time because he'll know, all the expected stuff. But also, this experience is not for the weak or fragile-minded. You will be challenged and asked to participate. This is not a passive engagement. We require action. Tickets are limited. Proceed with haste. Below are an FAQ link and available US tickets, with showtimes. Clicking a showtime brings us to an external site for purchase with details that are enlightening. This ticket grants you access to the time-slotted event for our 90-minute session. Following this purchase, you will receive your box in the mail at least 48 hours before your scheduled date. Good luck. It will be an hour and a half long, as Ian mentioned, and taking place online. As for the price, are you ready? Here it is. $125 plus $10 booking fee. Yes, the price was, in reality, a literal monetary currency-based price. Doesn't mean you aren't also paying with some courage and the risk of being made uncomfortable, but this wasn't the scary tithing practice that Ian was making it out to be. I imagine half of you are relieved and half of you are let down. The FAQ illustrates further. What is One Day Die? One Day Die is an interactive guided seance experience, and it's a Zoom-based experience with multiple actors, sets, and a skilled crew behind all of this. No sacrifice of production value or quality. We don't want you to feel like a small window in a sea of other windows with little faces in them, so we're putting a piece of the show, the box, right in your hands. The boxes are all handmade in Los Angeles, heavily curated and designed. That must be why there are so many requests for personal information. The boxes will be given personal touches based on who it's going to. The experience is designed to feel different than most Zoom-style shows. The team is pushing itself to be more and more interactive, and as such, they offer this answer about interactivity. You get out what you put in. If you're going to sit quietly during the seance and just silently scream with fear on the inside, it's going to feel less interactive. It is a group experience, so be a part of the group. There will be times to be quiet. There will be times to mingle. There will be times to interact. So, get out there. As for content, Yes, it's in October. It is going to be scary if you let yourself fall under the spell of the experience. We are dealing with heavy adult themes, graphic imagery, occult subject matter, violence, ritualistic magic, branching narratives, death, paranormal events, complex technology, a little Satan stuff, blood, animal sacrifice, fire, and whatever weird juju you bring to this thing. So, come at your own risk. Keep the kids away. And there you have it. That is One Day Die. The experience is an hour-and-a-half immersive performance via Zoom that includes the box, and everything online has been prologue storytelling that sets the stage. There will be actors, some sets, and it looks like some decision-making too. As I write this, there are still 5 showtimes available. I have no doubt they'll be gone by the time I'm finished making this video. And if you're asking whether I claimed a box for this, the answer is... no, I don't own a webcam. And I'm not about to derail a whole experience by showing people an actual living monster the very moment everybody checks in. That would be kind of rude to just suck up all the attention like that, right? I mean, naturally, I'm very good at being the center of attention most of the time, but when someone is actually performing, that's just disrespectful. Come on now. I am going to keep tabs on this and provide a proper update when it's a good time, however. There's no telling exactly what the experience will involve, but I'm standing by to watch and engage where I can, same as all of you. As to anyone participating all the way, good luck, and whatever spirits you may encounter, our spirits go with you. Thanks to all of those who reported their findings in that Google Doc. Thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video, and thanks to all of you for viewing. Major thanks to all my supporters on Patreon who keep Nightmind running and empower the Nightmind Index, my new website serving as a discovery vehicle for new and active unfiction projects. I'm still loading new entries into the index as of this week. I got over 40 of them after my video announcement, and there's already some really good stuff up there. If you'd like to support the work I do on Nightmind through the channel and the index, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter for as little as $2 a month. It fuels my work here and gets your name in the credits of all major videos. And that's it for tonight, everyone. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like a mystery man with a rather scary box showing up in your email, you'll be seeing me again real soon. Until then, sleep tight.